see him. He's there.
Oh, he's there. Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Why don't we call the meeting to order? I've got 7:01 on my clock. Anna, would you please read the Open Meetings Act?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting the same on the bulletin board of Town Hall and forwarding a copy to the Courier News and Star Ledger at least 48 hours prior to the meeting, all in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting will not substantially go past 10:30.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mrs. Brahimai?
Here.
Mr. Kudo?
Here.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Here.
Mr. Maderos?
Here.
Mrs. Pogue? Mr. Yellen?
Here.
Mayor Devaney.
Okay, let's all rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance to
Flag.
the flag
Of
of
the
the United
States
States
of America.
and to
And to
the
the
republic
republic
for
for
which
which
it
it stands,
one
one
nation,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty,
and justice
justice
for all.
for all.
Thanks for that flag, Liza. Caught me a little off guard. So we have a conference session scheduled with a presentation from on Stratton House. But before that, I'd like to ask Ritika Singha Chaudhry, who's joined our call. She's a GL student. She was I'm going to ask her to talk about her proposal to the mayor, which resulted in the resolution number 10, which we have on the agenda for tonight, the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee. So, hi, Ritika. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hi, I'm Ritika. I'm a junior in high school. I actually go to the magnet school in Scotch Plains, but I'm really involved with GL through like sports and other stuff like that. So basically just like a little bit about this council. I do a lot of model government and stuff like that, which GL has a great team and my school also has a really good team. But what I kept noticing was that we would debate politics and history, and we would debate it on a very big scale, and oftentimes we wouldn't realize what's impacting our communities right here, right now. And then as I began like reading up and kind of learning more about what I wanted to do, I realized how important like local councils are, and how important it is for us to be involved, even though it might not seem as big as like some of the national issues. These are the issues that are more directly impacting how we live and how we work. So basically this youth council is kind of a way to both involve the students of Berkeley Heights in the council, but also to provide a vehicle for like initiatives for us to undertake. So there is a little bit of action, and there is that feeling of like we are doing something and actively working towards something. So that's kind of what I had in mind for the council. I've been talking to a bunch of my friends from Berkeley Heights about it who have been looking for something like this, have been kind of interested in politics and needed that kind of like in. And we're all really excited to start working on it together. We have a bunch of great ideas. So I think you guys will be really pleased if this resolution is passed today. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I for one applaud your initiative and you find a welcoming audience here and what you said about local government.
Thank you.
Yes, this is wonderful, Ritika. As someone who got involved first in Berkeley Heights government in high school at GL,
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you're trying to do here, and I welcome you and your fellow teenagers here in town to this, and look forward to seeing the wonderful ideas and energy you're going to bring to the table.
Definitely. Thank you.
Does anybody on the council have any questions for Ritika?
No.
No questions. I think it's a fabulous idea. We had some clubs once upon a time up at the council that used to be really involved, and they kind of lost their leadership and their passion. So it's great to see you guys come back. And it's, you know, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ritika. Appreciate you jumping on and explaining it to us.
Thank you.
Take care. Now, why don't we move on to, I think it's Bill Hamilton who's going to be presenting on the Stratton House presentation.
Thank you. So I'm here tonight with Joe Forgione, the owner and applicant of the project, as well as Tom King, the architect. And I thought what we might do is I would start by just giving you a little overview of what's being proposed from a plan view perspective, some of the elements of the project, and then Joe and Tom can talk in a little more detail about the actual building design itself, the elevation, et cetera. We've been working with, the township for a number of months and trying to finalize the design. We met with Keenan and talked to him on a number of occasions, as well as Ms. Kingsley and other people in the town and the administration. So we think we've got a really good project. And so let me just start by seeing if I can share my screen. Let's see here. Now, can you guys see that?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Okay. Let me try again. How about now?
There we
There.
go.
There we go.
Okay. So let me see if I can make it a little smaller. So this is an existing conditions rendering of the site. And I know you guys are all familiar with it. It's 2 lots. It's lot 17 and lot 18 is the subject of our redevelopment plan. Lot 17 is what I'll call the King's Shopping Center. On the right-hand side, you'll see the old King's building that's now vacant. To the left is the parking lot in front of it. And then the kind of Z-shaped inline retail that goes out towards Lone Pine Drive. That was the subject of the original Stratton House application that was approved for 150 units. We've now added lot 18 into the mix, which is the vacant lot up to the upper right corner of the site. Right now, it's been cleared. It's been filled to some degree. When an 81-room hotel was proposed on the site, they also built a detention basin. But it has been really the focus of the municipality from a planning perspective for a number of years for affordable housing as well. So as I scroll up, let's use this one. This is a rendering of what the proposal is today. And essentially, it's a 211 unit residential development that has 32 units of affordable housing, which is essentially 15% in accordance with your master plan and affordable housing obligation agreements. There's a number of really important benefits to this plan as opposed to the original Stratton House plan, and I'm just going to touch on a few of them. If you look at the part of the new building that's located within lot 17, essentially over what was the King's building, that's a much smaller footprint on lot 17 than was originally approved for the Stratton House. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is, although there's more units for the project, we obviously have included lot 18, which is a 2.6 acre lot, so we're able to reduce that footprint slightly. And in addition, this is going to be a 3- and 4-story building. Stratton House was a 3-story building. This is going to be a 3-story building in the areas that are most visible, adjacent to the parking lot, Sherman Avenue. If you're looking from Springfield Avenue, you're going to see this 3-story exposure where the King's building was. And then in the back of the building that's adjacent to what's going to be the Mill Creek development on Lone Pine Drive, it goes up to 4 stories, which is consistent with what Mill Creek is. So that does a few things for us, actually quite a few things. The first is it allows us to retain significantly more parking for the commercial shopping center. In the original Stratton House approval, we had 90 spaces left over for the shopping center. We now have 189. So it gives a lot more flexibility in terms of the usability of the shopping center. And it also gives additional parking for Station Court. Right now, there are 18 spaces that are located, I'm going to call it on the western boundary of the site between Station Court and the King's Building. Those spaces originally were shared by Station Court and the shopping center. We're now going to allocate those 100% to Station Court, so there'll be no sharing of those parking. Just on the other side of those, I'm sorry, there are 18 spaces for Station Court. There are 20 spaces that are proposed surface parking on the west side of the building. Those are going to be commuter spaces dedicated for commuters. And we've put them in a location that's most convenient to the train station on the subject property. And as you look down Sherman Avenue, you can see that we're proposing streetscape improvements down Sherman Avenue all the way to Plainfield. So people that park in those commuter spaces, as well as the residents of Station Court and this project and Dr. Phan's project, will have a completely new streetscape to walk to get to the train station. A second really important change that this adding lot 18 to the project allowed us to do was we now move the entrance to the parking garage from what was essentially where we show the commuter spaces. Now it's shared, essentially a parking aisle with Station Court and the shopping center. And we now have a dedicated entrance to the parking garage right off of Lone Pine Drive. So there's going to be no conflict in terms of, retail parking, Station Court parking with people entering and exiting this site. They're going to go directly out to Lone Pine Drive. Lone Pine Drive has a signalized intersection at Springfield Avenue. We've done our traffic study. We're going to submit it with our site plan. That study has incorporated both the Mill Creek project as well as the project that we're proposing here. And there's going to be no impact to the traffic light at Springfield Avenue. We don't even recommend any changes to the timing. So that information will be submitted. The parking deck, the way it's designed now, has some other benefits. If you live, for example, on the third floor of the building, you're going to be able to park on the third floor of that building and have direct access to your unit. So you don't have to park, take an elevator, which is really important in terms of marketing the units as well as convenience for the people that live there. That parking deck is going to have approximately 390 spaces. By the redevelopment code, we're required to have 359. So we provided extra spaces, which is a benefit, we think, to everyone involved. So that's kind of just the overview of the project. I don't know, Joe or Tom, if you want to talk about the elevations, I'll pull them up. We have both a first floor plan as well as elevations of the building, and we can talk a little bit about materials and what we're proposing. So Joe or Tom, do you want to?
Do you have the elevation, Bill? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I have the one elevation pulled up.
We're not seeing it yet.
You haven't seen it?
We're just
No,
seeing
we're
that.
seeing the old one, just the lot one with the drawing.
Before you leave this one though, so this lot 17, I just hadn't noticed it before, but that seems to be incorporate all of what is Delicious Heights, for example, and all of the restaurants that adjoin that building. Is that all under by the same ownership? Is that under 4G Homes ownership?
So
That was under.
we had closed title with Dr. Phan creating a commercial condominium. Bill, I don't know if you have that exhibit.
I don't have the condominium exhibit, but basically the lot line runs down the curb line in front of the new building.
All right. So the condominium line split comes directly down the middle of where it says lot 17 and existing parking to remain. That
Okay.
was the original condo line. So when Billy talked about keeping all of the 189 parking spaces versus 91, that condo line encroached within that existing parking to remain, reducing it from 189 to 91. So essentially, the condo line came directly down the middle of that parking. Like Billy had said, incorporating lot 18 and being able to go 4-story on 18 and along the rear of the building facing the wetlands, that allowed us to shrink the footprint, remove that condominium line, which will now merge part of 17 into 18, making it a fee simple lot, and retaining all that parking that will go back, be retained by Dr. Fan and the shopping center in Delicious Heights.
So just to be clear, the property, lot 18, that's all of it then is owned by Forgione?
Lot 18 is owned by the Paramount, which is the May family. Lot 17 is broken up into Unit A and B. Unit A is the already approved project of 150 units, where that condo line goes right down the middle of that existing parking. And Unit B would be the retained parcel by Dr. Fan.
Thanks for that clarification, John.
So if this is approved, that condo regime would be rescinded. The proposed lot line would follow the front curb of the proposed building, merging it to lot 18 with frontage on along Pine Road. There's something else that's important that I think that that the committee was emphatic about, was cleaning up all the issues with the cross-access easements and parking easements and the like that exist. This plan contemplates making no revisions to any of the existing cross-access easements which occur between Station Court, the King's property, the township, and the like. So because some of the roads are still public, there's cross-access easements which exist. So this plan does not require amendment to any of those easements and agreements. That was our tour from day one. Liza, I think you were pretty emphatic about making sure that happened.
I apologize. Could you guys see the elevations now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So go ahead, Tom.
Okay. Good evening. Just to jump in quickly, what we're looking at here, the top elevation, the east elevation, is along the creek frontage. This is the 4-story portion of the building. Below is the Lone Pine entrance. You see on the right-hand side is the entrance into the structured parking garage. There's again, this is a 4-story elevation. We've made a real attempt to incorporate quality finishes and trying to work with rhythms that were set up in the previous design, but incorporate a slightly newer look to it. Joe really wants to produce a luxury project, and we went through several iterations working with the town to try and break down some of the mass of the building and keep the overall residential quality of it. And this is kind of where we've ended up. We've got a stone base, a cast stone base, and which I believe you can see well at the bottom on the Lone Pine elevation. It's a banded cast stone with brick above. We actually have 2 different brick colors. There's a reddish brick and a beige brick that helps to set up the vertical rhythm in the elevations. The garage is a precast concrete garage, but it is a stained concrete, so it is doing its best to match the brick tones and the stone on the main building. We've repeated this bay element on the upper. Okay,
Sorry.
That's okay. We've switched over to the other side, and oh, I don't know what happened there.
I'm not so great at this. I apologize. I'll bring it back up.
No problem, Bill.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, so this is the elevation. The west elevation on the top is basically looking from the retail toward the side of the building. Sherman Avenue is running along the right-hand side, perpendicular to this front. The garage that you see there and the 4-story portion is hidden by the retail portion. Yeah, okay, and now we can see the south elevation, which is the Sherman Avenue primary elevation you see from Sherman Avenue, where we've got a 3-story band that wraps around along Sherman Avenue, turns the corner where our primary entry is at the curved corner entry, and then continues along on the adjacent face. Again, we've repeated this bay element to help break up the elevation and bring it down to more of a residential scale. We're trying to utilize the different materials to work. We've got banding working horizontally and then breaking those bands with the vertical elements. Primarily, the elevations are made up of the cast stone base, the red brick on the bays, and then the beige brick in between. Above, we've got above the beige brick and set into the red brick bays, we have hardy panel, which is a cementitious panel material, and we've tried to pronounce the cornice slightly at the variations on the elevation to again break up that linear roof line and gives some real articulation to the facade.
Do we have a rendering of the corner? Miss Kinsley?
Yep.
Is this consistent with what we?
Yep.
It is? Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. These are the things we talked about.
So what you have, Billy, what Billy just brought up, and maybe I'll take over from here. One of the things that we try to do is, I use a term that's not found in the dictionary. We over amenitize our buildings. So the photos that you see are actual photos taken from projects that I'm completing, Quinn in Plainfield and Claris in Maplewood. And so what we've done is we've taken the amenity component portion of the building, blew it up, and showed you photos of how we envision the spaces being finished. Couple things that this redesign afforded us is the opportunity to really take into account the ever-changing market, especially driven today by the COVID. And we were able to expand the amount of amenity area, which we thought was very, very important, increasing the size of the business center. We added a Quick Mart, which is vending machines are back and very, very popular in a size building, anything over 150 units, we like to include the Quick Mart, especially being by the rail. We've also, which is really, really, really important, it's the Amazon hub. We were able to design this building so that the Amazon hub can be accessed by Amazon from the outside of the building and not have to, and continue with the security needed inside the building. So if you look at that amenity area where it says the business center just to the left, that's the Amazon room. You'll see a door with access from the sidewalk to that area. Those are Amazon hub lockers. Then there's another door that separates the Amazon room from the mail room, so that what we're finding is these delivery gentlemen have a card, and when they swipe it, the time in and out, and the package that was delivered. So it's all registered with Amazon, placed in the locker, and the person is then notified to pick it up. So again, doesn't need to penetrate the inside of the building or the access from the outside. We added a virtual spin area because today we're seeing a lot of fitness on demand and demand for that. We added a billiards table, a billiards room, which can be visible from the lobby, a leasing center, and we will have a full-time leasing person on site 5 days a week. And we plan to have a full-time manager which will live in the building, and we will have, at a building of this size, 2 porters 5 days a week minimum. We also were able to redesign the building to include a media screening room, which a theater room, and then in the photo above that, that's the theater room we have in Plainfield. And so that we thought it was important. And by expanding the community room, again, because of this COVID and social distancing, we thought it was important to create these pods of different areas for separation. The nice thing about it is that when you come in through the front door, we have a virtual doorman into a small lobby, and the visibility straight out to the courtyard, we think is going to be pretty dramatic and nice. Some of it, we're going to use the very, very similar finishes, if not many of the same finishes we used in the Maplewood project called Claris. We are talking with our HVAC people, where in common areas, we're going to be using infrared lighting so that it kills any viruses as the air circulates. Certainly in the amenity rooms, we designed the system, the HVAC on the market rate units, all to be a split system as well, which is really important. We also have on the other side, which is the entrance off of Long Pine, we also include there a mail room and a small lobby with a virtual doorman as well. So we sort of have 2 lobbies. This would be the main lobby, and where the amenities would be located. I think one of the other items that Billy didn't talk about with the site plan is currently the King's use has outdoor storage as well as dumpsters. Our proposal is not to propose any dumpsters. All the garbage will be handled inside the building. I think that it's very important for Dr. Fan and his ability to attract tenants to that shopping center with the extra parking. Also with the mass of adding 211 units there, I think it certainly will help with his leasing out activities. Removing the King's building, the light pollution, and everyone sees what's happening there when the wind blows with those dumpsters. There's a mess. So again, I think it's really important that to note that all the garbage will be handled internally. I don't know, Bill. We put together a short bullet point for the board. I don't know if that was distributed, Liza.
Yeah, we got that just before about a half hour before the meeting.
Look, the amenity, aside from the amenity fitness center, there is the fitness equipment will be really high end. It'll be state of the art equipment. We think that it's important as you attract people that relocate and downsize. The finishes are very, very important. And the ability not to have to join a gym also is very important. The covered parking, we think, is an incredible amenity, especially when you're trying to attract seniors to a building like this. In Maplewood, we've never had a vacancy. All of our leases are 2-year terms because of the level of finishes. It's an incredible project, and we hope that this, along with this one that we're building in Glen Ridge, will be able to outpace Maplewood. I think that's all I have, unless you have questions of me.
How many units is the one in Maplewood?
The one in Maplewood is 20 units and 17,000 square feet of retail.
Okay.
Important to note, we have underground parking. The ordinance there was 1/2 parking space per unit. We have 20 spaces and 4 of them are empty. It's incredible. As people age, they use Uber a lot more than we do. It's incredible. And use the train a lot more as well.
Any other questions from the council?
No. No questions.
Nope.
Okay, well, Joe, Bill, Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your sharing this with us.
Thank you.
I think you can stop sharing.
There we go.
All right, thank you. All right, why don't we move on to the regular agenda?
Should we,
I'm sorry?
you need us to stay on, or?
No, well, there is, we do have a combined residents or a hearing agenda and citizens hearing. There might be questions from the public, if you don't mind staying around for a little bit longer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you.
That comes up pretty soon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, why don't we move into the regular agenda, Township Council reports. Again, Tiana.
Hi, everybody. Just some exciting news. Ming and I were able to visit the municipal building. Eric gave us a tour. It's big. Everybody was working inside, so it's all excited to see that things are moving quickly, and the dirt is going to be moved at the new place. So we're going to have some more room over there to actually for people to see the building or what it looks like while it's being finished. As far as the communication committee, there is not much going on except that they're still publishing the newsletter every 2 weeks. If people want to pick it up, there is a plastic box outside the the existing building right now, and it's marked with the newsletter. So please go there if you need to find out what's going on in town. You can pick up a copy. And the communication committee is not going to have any meetings for the month of August. So they're going to, we're going to resume back in September. And while I'm talking about the communication committee, I just want to give them a shout out because all these guys are volunteers and they do a great job. And I feel that sometimes we don't mention them enough. So I wanted to just give a thank you to Pam Yas, to Lucinda Hayes, Herman Matfis, Carolyn Yildiz. If I'm saying the names incorrectly, please forgive me. Athena Sapir, Jim Skidmore, Christina Kiofi, Dr. DeFabio, Stephen Yellen. And please continue to support our local businesses. There is more outdoor areas being opening up. I just noticed that Strega has a setup outside of there. So these businesses have lost a lot of money during COVID. So if you can please go support them and so they can make up some for times lost. And while we have this ordinance for all the outdoor areas, that's going to be before the weather, gets bad in New Jersey. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Thanks, Tiana. Manny?
Extremely short. Congratulations to all the graduates. I'm happy they're out of school. I'm proud for their accomplishments, and I am glad that they can celebrate a little bit. Please remember to safe distance and to continue wearing the mask when you can outside. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Manny. Jane?
Okay, I'll be brief. Last week we submitted the Safe Streets to Transit grant application, and with that we are seeking additional funding for the Plainfield Avenue Sidewalk Improvement Project. Tom Solfaro and our PD put a lot of effort into this to update the scope and update the cost estimates, and conjunction with all that's going on with safe walks, safe routes to school. I think it's a really strong grant application. So we are keeping our fingers crossed and hopeful that we will be successful. Beautification Committee has a meeting tomorrow night. We are working to looking to talk about what to do about Restaurant Week, given the fact that they're not opening the restaurants internally now, and that's been delayed. I think it's highly unlikely that there will be a Restaurant Week this year. So we're, noodling around other ideas and things to help the restaurants. So stay tuned. And lastly, just again, congratulations to the class of GL 2020. We were so lucky that we have these passionate parent volunteers in this town that pulled together 24 hours of fun graduation activities, from the brunch to the gala/prom to the actual graduation ceremony, all of which they had masks and did social distancing. So hats off to our graduates, and congratulations to all the families. That's it.
Thanks, Jean. I'll take my turn now. First of all, I just want to take a moment to congratulate and thank Chief DePasquale. He attended a meeting of the Diversity Council, answering a lot of tough questions, I thought, real questions, and I thought he did a tremendous job. He also published the letter in TAP today, acknowledging the intention to move to paint over the blue line, and so I really appreciate his support, his willingness to hear the community and respond. So thank you, Chief. Moving on to the other topics, plastic bags. Unfortunately, Kim Diamond checked with Trex. We are not going to be able to recycle plastic bags until the pandemic is over. And there are no other, there are other alternatives to recycling plastic. You cannot recycle it in the biweekly collection with the other recyclables, but you can continue to turn it in. There are fewer locations than what there used to be before, but we are able to, Whole Foods and ShopRite and Target are currently taking plastic bags. So if you can take them there, please continue to collect them. Please don't put them into the bi-weekly recycling, and then please take them to those remaining stores that are accepting them. Environmental Commission continues to prepare their July 30th deadline for their Sustainable Jersey certification. Currently, Berkeley Heights has a bronze certification. We're on the cusp of being able to get a silver certification. There's a number of initiatives that we have to pull through. One of them is on today's agenda, which is the supporting the New Jersey No Idling Code. I want to congratulate Tony Padovano, the OROEN chief, who helped coordinate the COVID testing together with Union County for our seniors at this past week at Park Edge and Little Flower church sites. I also want to congratulate Andrew Esposito. He's a resident member of the Economic Development Committee, for his initiative and hard work putting together a proposal and a presentation on marketing Berkeley Heights to prospective New York City or other city immigrants who might be motivated by their pandemic experience to look for a suburban lifestyle. I believe he shared all of his ideas with all the members of the council. I appreciate the council's taking the time to hear him out. I think he's put together a really great plan. Lastly, I just want to say I heard a suggestion from a resident in town who thought it would be a great idea to make available to residents the opportunity of submitting their ideas/suggestions to the township, sort of a web-based suggestion box, and we might even do a physical suggestion box as well. So I plan to reach out to the communications committee. I realize now is not the best time to do it, considering the vacation and the delays, but I think it's a great idea. I'd really love to pursue that. I don't think it's going to be that hard to do, and perhaps we could have periodic readouts on what some of the major things that our township residents are interested in seeing. So I'd like to propose that to the Communications Council, and I'll do it more formally later on. That's it for me. Stephen?
Thank you, Council President. Let me begin by also congratulating the Governor Livingston class of 2020. Obviously, it's not been any kind of normal year, but I'm glad that they and their families are able to enjoy at least somewhat of the kind of graduation ceremonies and enjoyment that you deserve. I was listening as one of the residents at the Diversity Council question and answer session that occurred with our police department. I fully agree with the council president. Our chief did an excellent job in not just discussing the police department's practices, but in listening to what residents had to say. And I share Alvaro's view in commending the department for its position with regards to the blue line as well. I think it's a step in the right direction for our community. The Historic Preservation Committee met on Thursday, July 2nd. I hope we will have more information or updates shared with the public on the work that we're going to be doing in the near future. But we had a productive meeting. We'll be taking it from there. I do just want to quickly correct with the Communications Committee, we do have a meeting on July 23rd. So it is true we're not meeting in August, but we do have a meeting before then. So if you want to pass on the idea formally to the council representatives to the Communications Committee, Alvaro, Ginty, and I am sure would be happy to pass it on to the Communications Committee for their review. And I think that was it. So thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. The mayor's not here, obviously, so I'll just ask Liza to report on the bring up her administration report.
Thanks, Alvaro. Electronics and number 6 styrofoam recycling is back. It was on hiatus after COVID hit. It's normally the first Saturday of every month, but because July 4th was last Saturday, it's going to be this Saturday. New location in the library parking lot. Please wear your masks, stay in your cars, and await instruction from the DPW crew that will be there. I believe that they will be taking things out of the car for you, but just please don't automatically get out of your cars. They'll tell you what to do when you get there. And again, it's from 9 a.m. to noon. Information in terms of what's accepted and what's not is on our website. Municipal complex updates. Just want to remind everybody that the section of our website, berkeleyheights.gov, under the government tab, there's a municipal complex section. We have weekly construction forecasts that are posted as to what's coming up each week. Beginning last year, we began asking Mass, our construction manager, for progress updates each week. So those are posted normally Friday or Saturday of each week. We get them Friday. We recently started doing quick 1-minute videos so residents can actually see live the progress being made. And we're also sending those to TAP at the end of every week. So thank you, Tap Into Berkeley Heights, for helping us get the word out about that. As Gentiana mentioned, our current parking lot at Town Hall, you'll see there's a lot of fencing there. They're milling that. They're going to be moving dirt over beginning this Friday to try to dry it out for the next month or so, maybe 2 months at the rate of rain we're getting, before they can use it as backfill to save us some money. Also, we'll have more information coming out at the next meeting, but we're close to reaching an agreement with Epic on the completion date. We're just trying to take into account any additional unforeseen circumstances. Road projects coming this summer, everybody's favorite topic. Milling and paving Fairfax Drive, along with adding much needed drainage, new elevations for curbing and sidewalk repairs. We're gonna pave Cottage Street, possibly doing some extra work around the Mountain Park area, depending on how much the bids come in for the projects I just mentioned above. We're going to be doing the roads around Lincoln and Plainfield on the opposite side of Springfield Avenue from Peppertown Park, also using grant money. And we're going to be doing some milling, paving, and some minor drainage work on Greenbrier, Ferndale, and Hastings with some state DOT grant money that will be done later this summer, early fall, to finish up that part of town over by Woodruff Elementary School. And grants, as Councilman Kingsley mentioned, Safe Streets to Transit grant. Thank you for doing the heavy lifting on that, Jean. We also applied to a New Jersey DOT municipal aid grant to mill and pave Sawmill Drive West, College Ave, and Reisman, which will finish off that section in 2021. We applied to the state for the LEAP implementation grant to cover our cost of shared services as we entered a shared service in Union County for emergency dispatch services, because the state is really trying to encourage shared services right now. And then the New Jersey Historic Trust grant, we applied for funds to restore Littell Lord Farmstead using previously awarded grant money as the township's matching portion. And thank you to Councilwoman Pogue for spearheading that. I don't know if everybody is on the WISE email list, but the new outdoor pool is opening tomorrow, so that's very exciting. If you have any questions, please call the Y about that. The spray park at Snyder opened today. The bathrooms at Snyder are also open. The county is cleaning and sanitizing them. Berkeley Heights cases have not moved in 4 to 5 days, which is great news. That means everybody is really doing their part. So as kids' sports get kicked into high gear, camps start, please, 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 just emphasize to your kids the importance of social distancing. Send hand sanitizer with them and just talk to them about how important it is. Also, our Rec Summer Experience 2020 begins Monday. This is in lieu of playground camp this year. Once again, please send hand sanitizer. I want to send a huge thank you to our Rec Department and Rec Commission for really working their tails off to create some sort of safe yet vastly altered experience for our kids this summer. I know the parents, we parents are forever in your debt. God knows if they had to be home all summer. Kudos especially to Carolyn George. As everybody knows, she is the gem of our community when it comes to programming for our kids. And that's all. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Liza. Who's doing the reading tonight?
I am. Okay. All right, so I move that all Township Council and administrative reports be accepted and approved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Brahimai?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Medeiros?
Yes.
Mr. Yellen?
Yes.
So we had on the agenda a public hearing and final adoption of an ordinance that's been moved out to July 21st. So we're going to skip that and move on to the.
How many do you want me to move? I move to open the hearing on agenda items and the citizens hearing.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Brahimai?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Medeiros?
Yes.
Mr. Yellen?
Yes.
Okay, I have to read the instructions for how to pursue this. So the Zoom public comment period will operate as follows. There'll be one public comment session before the agenda items. There will be no public comment at the end of the meeting. All participants, with the exception of council, will be on audio only and will be muted until the public comment period. People can request to address the council at any time by putting their name and address in the chat box to the right of your screen or by using the raise your hand option in Zoom. The host, Liza, will see these requests and call on you during the public comment period. Each resident will get one and only one 3-minute period to make their remarks. Council will respond when the resident is completely finished and back on mute. This is to ensure each person who wants to ask a question gets a chance to, and will avoid people talking over each other so everyone's heard clearly. When the host, Liza, calls on people to ask their question, they will ask it directly via audio only, not video. Please indicate when your questions are complete. As always, please be patient with us as we work through any technical difficulties that may arise during the meeting. This continues to be a new paradigm for us, so appreciate your patience. Okay, citizens hearing is now open.
Okay. And Joe Forgione and Bill Hamilton, if you want to, this first question is for you. If you want to unmute yourselves, I unmuted you. First question is from John Sigcaglia, 22 Robbins Ave. Go ahead. John, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. I'm on?
Yep.
Okay. My understanding was that the Stratton House, the King's property, I thought that the number of units that was going to be there, which was part of the affordable housing settlement, was 150. Now I heard tonight it's 211. That's a 40%, over 40% increase in the number of units. Why is that happening, and why would we want that?
Sir, the Stratton House, when it was on the King's property, was 150 units, of which 15% were affordable. The Paramount Lot 18 parcel was designated to have, Billy, correct me if I'm wrong, an additional 68 units, of which 15% are affordable. When you combine the two lots, it allows for 212 units, of which 15% are affordable. We are proposing to build 211. So as of right zoning, combining the two parcels, you can build 212 units.
Okay, I didn't realize that the section on Lone Pine was ever part of the agreement that was approved by the courts.
Yes,
that seems to be something that I was never aware of it. I'm not sure if anyone else was aware of that.
Yes, when you presented your plan to the court, it included the Paramount parcel as an open space parcel or part of your land inventory. which allowed for, Billy, what was the exact number? 68?
It was 62, actually, Joe.
62 units, and how many affordable? 13?
It was, it was 12.
12.
Okay, so that's embodied in the agreement that has been certified by the Superior Court of Union County.
It's part of your plan. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next we have Richard Leister,
Hey, good evening.
49 Summit Avenue. Sorry, go ahead, Richard.
Good evening. I got 2 points. One is as the environmental chair, I want to support the resolution for not idling. This is part of what the Green Team wants to do as a submission for Sustainable Jersey. The second is, I hope I can talk about this as well, is there was apparently a question from townspeople on trees. And we're trying to develop a new ordinance. That is, Tom Bacco and I are trying to put together a new ordinance. And apparently people are calling in about trees on their property, or is it on the township property? So the first thing that people should be told is that any tree that's over 8 inches in diameter cannot be removed without seeking a permit. And apparently people are doing that. So that's the first message that should go out to a homeowner. You cannot remove a tree without seeking a permit. The second is, okay, how do you tell if a tree is on your property or on the right of way? You can generally use as a guideline about 12 feet. If the tree is 12 feet in from the curb, it's probably a township tree. The third thing was determining if a tree poses a threat or not. I'm assuming that means if it poses a risk, that is, it might fall or might damage your property. That, I think, you either have to call a certified tree expert, or you can try calling the township and the zoning officer, Tom Bacco, and say, you think the tree is posing a threat and you want to have it taken down. You can certainly do that. That's all I have. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Okay, now, yep, we have Cy Bargavi, 146 Robin. Cy, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, hi. What was that? I'm sorry.
Okay. Does somebody else have it open in the house?
No, I had it on my laptop. Just give me 1 second. But my audio was off. What's wrong?
We're getting a pretty.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Hit herself again.
All right, try unmuting again, Cy. Okay.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So 146 Robbins, and I had I emailed the questions, and I know it was around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock to everybody. So my questions are regarding agenda item number 6. First, it's in regards to the resolution that you're passing for the video teleconferencing equipment and wiring for various departments. So I wasn't clear, is this for the new municipal complex?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So the 400 and I think the 455,000 it says for video teleconferencing equipment and wiring.
Yes. Is that Is that all your questions? I think you had 2 questions, right? I think what we'd like to do is,
Yeah, this is on agenda item 6. So my question is, this year, because of COVID, our budget did not increase, and everybody's going through unprecedented times, and it's impacting everyone. So my question is, first thing is this 455,000 coming from the budget for the municipal building? Is it going to the same bond?
is that it? Is that all your questions, Ty?
No, I have. So I did email them. You guys should have the questions. So first thing is, do we have to spend, because it says not exceeding 455,000? If it's for the new building, yes. And is it coming from the municipal building budget that's 32 million or 34 million right now? And if we can get details on which departments are being wired and why is that amount so high? Like, it's almost $500,000. So right now with COVID, we are able to do our day-to-day business, or even the town council video teleconferencing needs via Zoom. And most companies have either WebEx or Zoom or Microsoft, So can we relook at that amount, or are you going to vote on it today and it becomes, I think it's effective today. So that's $500,000 for agenda item 6. And if we can, and we don't see any details on how many square feet is being wired. I know you can't get that because Liza and I were chatting and she said, we can't get that information for you. But I think if you're voting on something which is almost 455,000, I think the taxpayers need to know some additional detail on which department. So I can understand the library needing a high-speed internet, and the police department needing some surveillance, and some of the open areas needing surveillance. But where is the 455,000 being spent before you vote on it? If we can get that listed out, that would be great.
Okay, is that it? Sorry.
So if you can answer these, then I will go, because the other agenda item is completely unrelated to this.
Okay, what we wanted to try to do is get all of your questions out and then address them.
Yes, I will go to my next questions on agenda item 9. You have them already from me. So all you have to do is open your email and you have them with you. I emailed it to the mayor and all the town council members and the township clerk.
Yeah, okay.
So you have my questions. So I don't have to repeat my questions, but if you can answer on agenda item 6, I would like to go to the next one.
I appreciate it, thank you. Liza, do you want to take a shot at number 6?
Yes. So the original budget, line item budget that was set, I don't know, a couple years ago, was about 1.2 million for IT and AV, because at the time, council wanted to make sure they had enough money to cover any needs that may come our way, and a lot of things change in the few years since that have elapsed since that budget was set and when we actually need to spend the money. So we actually got that expense down to under 500,000. So it's actually over a $700,000 savings. What we did is we went through with each department and said, you need to pick out what's a priority for you to have at building open and what you can deal without, so we can get another vendor possibly to come in here. We vetted several different vendors. We went through, we received the proposals. Each of our departments, our police, library, and the rest of the township, we each have our own IT professionals who specialize in our networks and how we utilize our technology and our phones and whatnot. They all were at the table also, and vetted all these contracts, and we actually got the cost down extensively by removing quite a few TVs, some cabling, and that type of thing. So what we're going to do is anything that doesn't need to be open, anything that doesn't need to be installed at building open, we're going to install later with a different vendor. We may even do it ourselves. It's TV mounting and that type of thing. The cabling is for the entire building. It's wiring for all IT. So that's, again, I know your questions were like meters, how many meters exactly? Like, I don't have that information offhand, but we absolutely scaled back significantly on this and are looking to do whatever we can ourselves after the major items get installed. So that's a broad answer. I can answer your other specifics that you had in your email via email, so I can speak in a little bit more specific terms and not as generally.
I think the second part of the question was whether or not this was covered in the original.
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. As I mentioned, that 1.2 million was always included in the beginning. It was always planned for. Unfortunately, we were able to cut that down. So.
Thank you, Liza. Okay, anybody else?
Yes, we have Carol Matula, 5 Hastings.
Sorry, I had the agenda item 9 questions also. So I said if I can.
Oh, sorry, right.
Yeah.
So you got to get all your questions out in the 3 minutes.
Yeah, sorry. So on agenda item 6, my only concern is before you guys vote on it today, can you guys relook at other options like Zoom or WebEx, or are we going to spend the 455,000? That was the question. So now that because of COVID, we've been doing this since March.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure Zoom doesn't cost that much compared to, so we look at other costs. Have you looked at these options?
We are, yes. So we actually are using Zoom, like for example, for the system that we will not currently use, but when we had meetings in our old building, like the recording system, for example, where that like Anna would listen to do the minutes, and that's all hooked up to the microphones on the dais. We're actually going to be using Zoom to record those instead of the live stream camera that we would do, and it's sort of like an all-in-one package. So meetings are going to be held there. Like, okay. Absolutely, but there is going to be technology so that, for example, if a council member cannot attend, they will be able to Zoom in for the meeting instead of Skype, which can sometimes be a hassle. So we are going to be utilizing some of these technologies, but that is not a reason for, you know, the cost. A lot of this, honestly, when you get to these costs, a lot of it is labor. But we did go through these vendors. They're all chosen, they're all state contract vendors, which means all the materials are bought through a co-op, which provides us actually with discounted pricing. So that also helps. This has been a really tough haul to really go through this and really get the bare bones pricing for the bare bones things that we need. So we did that with the department heads. And then on your question on the library, furniture, I believe was the other one. The township is, and I gotta put you back on mute. The township is contractually obligated from an agreement with a library a couple years ago to pay for the value of a specific set of items, including shelving and other furniture items. It's roughly, I want to say 275,000 off the top of my head. We're contractually obligated to pay that amount. Anything above that amount, the library pays for out of their own money. So whatever they want to buy with that is their purview. So that amount that's on this resolution, the township will pay that 200-some thousand, and then the library pays the rest. So I hope that answers that part.
Can I ask so we are going to spend like $6,000 on each lawn chair. There are like 12 lawn chairs on the listed items. So even COVID is hurting all of us. So just because we're contractually obligated to pay $275,000, I think right now on agenda, the resolution for agenda item 9, it's $376,000 and odd. So both these agenda items bring close to like $800,000. So just because we're contractually obligated, why can't we get cheaper lawn chairs? Why do we need to spend $6,000 per lawn chair and we have 12 of them? It is impacting us at the end of the day. And if you took that into consideration by keeping the budget, not increasing the budget this year, but then passing these resolutions is adding up. So why can't we re-look at these costs?
I think that aren't this furniture is dictated by the library, right? I mean, this is not the township's choice; it's the library's request for this kind of furniture, right?
So if these are common areas to Alvaro. It's not just the library; it's the common areas. So the furniture that you have on the agenda item number 11, and you have listed it, is not just the shelving and the computer tables. I think some of the computer tables were 6,000 or 5,650. I did put that in my email. But then the lawn chairs, I think, are for the common areas. So the other question that comes to my mind is what happened to the furniture? So I know we moved the books and everything. The furniture in the existing library was pretty functional. Like it didn't look very outdated. So are we looking at cost savings or not? Because
Yeah,
I know.
I want to be fair side. I'm sorry, but like, I hate being this person to like try to crack the whip on the rules, but then everybody's going to want to be able to go like for more than the 3 minutes or whatever that we're trying to stick to. I will definitely get you the answers that you're looking for on the specifics. But as Alvaro mentioned, like we can't dictate to the library what they buy. It's really their decision. We did cut down actually quite a bit on the furniture, original furniture order. I think I cut out, Eugenia, about $110,000 from the furniture for the rest of the building. And then we are taking some of our stuff with us. A lot of the stuff that we actually have in our current municipal complex is all donated from, I think, Connell. So none of it is new, but we are taking the pieces that are in good condition with us. We're taking a lot of the filing cabinets with us. I cut off a lot of the shelving because it seemed too expensive. We're going to get the same quality shelving from someplace from Home Depot for about $2,500 less per shelving unit. We went through this with a fine tooth comb and took off a lot. So I can respond more to your email. Carol Matula, 5 Hastings. Let me find you on Richard's iPad. Okay, Carol, I'm unmuting you. Okay.
Oh, okay, I may have missed this, but I have a couple of questions on the Stratton House presentation. Can you tell me the number of stories that it's going to be in each particular area of the development? And it was my recollection that the center of town limited the story height to only 2.5 stories. So if this exceeds the story height of 2.5, was the ordinances amended, and if not, why would any story heights be exceeded? But I did want to know what the heights were of the various parts of that planned development. Those are all my questions.
Thank you. Is just Joe or Tom still on?
I can answer it. This is Bill. So the building is a 3- and 4-story building. 3-story is consistent with what Stratton House was originally approved with. The 4-story part of the building is in the rear of the building, which is adjacent to the stream and also wraps around adjacent to Lone Pine Drive. So the building is really 3 and 4 stories. The station court is 4 stories. Mill Creek is 4 stories. So we tried to mimic those 2 developments and at the same time tone down the elevation of the building as it relates to the most visible parts of the building, which is essentially from Sherman Avenue and Springfield Avenue.
If I may, this is Keenan Hughes, Township Planner. Just to add to that, to clarify, this is a redevelopment plan scenario. So it's a site-specific set of zoning standards that will apply specifically to this project. So it doesn't impact any zoning for the balance of the downtown. It would permit a portion of this project to go to 4 stories, but it would be limited to that one specific area.
Thanks, Keenan. Thanks, Bill.
Hold on, I think Councilman Kingsley, I unmuted her. Okay. Okay.
Good. I'm good because Keenan answered it.
Oh, okay. All right. Anybody else, Leslie?
Yes, we have Steve Corellis, 35 Sycamore.
So it doesn't apply to the downtown area.
If they don't want it to apply.
Steve, I'm unmuting you.
We can't look at specific section.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
After these other places were done.
Okay, all right, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Stephen Martha Corellis here, from 35 Sycamore Avenue, to talk about a couple of things on tonight's agenda. The first is the drive-in movies topic, which is even on the agenda. Aside from the issue of how much money the town should spend on this, we got into a discussion about barriers to participation. All the information put out on this subject gives the impression that you must download an app to your device to participate. And Martha suggests that I check with Boxcar about that. And I found out that most of their services, including the movies, can be reserved through the website. The only thing you would need to use the Boxcar app for on your phone is if you were using their commuter bus service and needed to display your ticket. Now, you do have to sign up for an account, which could also be a barrier to some, but that is often a standard practice. So with that thought and that little researchers, please think about how the participation information that we put out is worded so we can maximize the opportunity for that event. The second topic concerns Resolution 7 concerning motor vehicle idling. This is the first time I've seen it, and presumed it came from the Environmental Commission, and that was confirmed, and then again today, a while ago. While there are issues surrounding the topic and with the resolution that can be resolved, my bigger concern was transparency, and that's what I'll speak to tonight, starting with my recent experience. Before we locked down Town Hall, I attended a couple of EC meetings in person and complimented the group on their advanced publication of an agenda and their scheduling of a citizens hearing at the beginning. And the agenda is about 90% the same from meeting to meeting, but it does change to reflect new things they're going to do, new topics. The EC knew who I am and what I did regarding motorist advocacy, but they did not reach out to me on this idling issue. Now, so much for government coming to the people, as the Purple Party in town likes to say. But that's okay. Several of our town sanctioned special interest groups, boards and committees listed on the town website, like to work among themselves and colleagues that align with them. They probably didn't think about me, didn't care, or assumed I knew nothing about the subject, even though I worked with the state and the EPA when the major revamp to the vehicle emissions inspection system was being made. So if something motorist related surfaced, I figured I could rely on transparency and eternal vigilance. As it turned out, the work leading to an idling resolution did not appear on an EC agenda, and I did my best to double check once I saw it scheduled for the council's consideration without a conference session. Now, in the larger context of transparency, using this experience as an example to talk about it, I spoken months ago to some council members and the communications team about the general issue of town-sanctioned special interest groups not having their agendas posted before their meetings, but not an EC problem. If such a group is doing policy work that will result in a resolution or ordinance, the topic should always be on an agenda, posted in advance of the meeting, and it should also be an open hearing by the group for public comment on the group's last product before it goes to another town entity or the town attorney. And one reasonable exception is if there's a conference session.
I'm sorry, Steve. Can we get your question? It's been over 3 minutes. I want to try to be fair to everyone.
Well, I'll be shorter than the other woman in concluding. Thank you. On that, the council should re-examine the rules of procedure for these groups, how members are selected, and add additional safeguards to ensure transparency, including the auditing activity. And as I've taken more notice in recent years on what's happening in town, I see the assortment of things coming from these groups, and I'm not discounting the good things, but I now understand the growing dissatisfaction seen by residents with special interest groups furthering their own agenda on the town. Returning to the idling resolution and considering the issues discussed earlier with the EC, I request that the council table the idling resolution so it can be reworked with my concerns addressed before being presented to the council. Thank you very much from both of us.
Thank you, Stephen. Liza?
We do not have, let me just check. I don't see any more people in the chat box. Hold on, oops, hold on. Okay, Tom Forger, 14 Dorset. Oh, sorry, Tom, I see your hand too.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom, go ahead.
All right. First of all, I want to support 100% what Steve just said about special interest groups and passing resolutions. With regard to the idling resolution, I was just going to ask, what would happen if we didn't pass it? It seems to be a nullity in that you already have an ordinance. that deals with this subject. With regard to the amended employment agreement with the police chief, that's item 4. What has changed and what is the additional cost of the changes to the township? I see it refers to something that happened in 2015, but your website does not have any minutes on from 2015, so I couldn't find anything. With regard to the new library furniture, item 9, I'd like to ask what happens to the old furniture and why couldn't they have just used that like the rest of the township is doing? I don't see why they had to have an exemption and go out and buy expensive new furniture. And finally, with regard to the ordinance on long-term tax exemption, is that on for tonight? The long-term tax exemption?
Yep. That's
okay. That says it permits units of affordable housing to be transferred to Springfield Avenue at the florist site. So my question has to do with, do they get a tax exemption on the Mondelli property if no affordable units are actually built on the Mondelli site? Because I looked at the redevelopment agreement of May 2020, and that calls for a 3-bedroom affordable unit. But then when I looked at the architectural plans on your website, they do not show any 3-bedroom units. They only show 1 and 2-bedroom units. So that leads me to wonder, maybe they don't even plan to build any affordable units at the Mondelli site and just transfer it. And then you would be giving them a tax break. And there's no benefit to the town. It's just an ordinary development, building condos. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. And the rest of my questions I will just submit to Liza. Thank you.
I've got.
Did I stay under, Liza, did I stay under 3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We should have a little timer. On
You
the,
know what? If I could figure out how to do that, I would love to, so then I don't have to be a bearer of bad news every time.
That'd be
yeah,
good.
well, the other thing you could do is just increase it to 5.
Oh, well, I know you'd love that.
Yeah, like the county. But I know we consider the county maybe not so good, except here they are, 5 minutes on the county.
Okay, so I heard 1 comment and 3 questions. I think the first one, Liza, you can address that one in a second, which is the first is the change on the police chief's resolution.
Yep. Furniture, we are reusing some, as mentioned. The library, again, we can't really tell them what to do. We can encourage, but it's their decision to decide what we're contractually obligated to pay for. The chief's agreement is the same agreement that we had last year. That's just outlining the terms of his employment. It's not monetary in that specific agreement. So it's just, he had a 1-year, his contract, I guess, was going in 1-year terms. So this will extend it through 2020 and 2021. And then Keenan, Alvaro, if you want.
Yep, Keenan, if you address the questions about the pilot.
Certainly. Yeah, so I understand that the question was in connection with the Mondelli project. And just to clarify, they're actually scheduled to appear before the planning board a week from tonight on the 15th. That site plan submittal actually does include 2 affordable housing units as required by the settlement agreement, by the redevelopment agreement. So there's a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom unit among the 10 total units that will be affordable.
Okay, and then we have Richard Matula, 5 Hastings. Richard, I'm unmuting you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, 2 items. On the most recent agenda, unless it's been changed, on page 79, item 11B, it gives information about somebody overpaying taxes. The lot number was 15. I didn't quite get the block. Apparently it's on Springfield Avenue, but no number is given for Springfield Avenue. All the other items in which there's a overpayment of tax have a number associated with the street. So what's the number for this item, this property on Springfield Avenue?
It's on 569.
It's the item in pencil is 11B on your agenda. On page 37, it's referring to the florist site. A few weeks ago, I submitted 5 questions, and I have not received answers to any one of them so far. On page 37, it shows, I'll describe the street. You go west on Springfield Avenue to the street that goes by the River Road. Make a right on River Road for a block and make a right on Washington. The map, excuse me, the map shows going into the parking lot only half a block on Washington Street. The question is if you continue going, I guess it would be northeast on Washington, it doesn't show that there's a street there. Yet Washington continues for several blocks going northwest. This seems to imply that there's a gap in the paving on Washington. Is there in fact a gap, or is Washington complete? Because if it is complete, then you could go southwest on Washington and make a left into the parking lot just before the street there. So is there a gap on Washington or not? That's the second question.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you for pointing out with 11B. I had that question.
Was it? I thought it was 11B or 11D.
B.
B. As in boy.
So we don't have the address on that. Okay.
I believe that's what I got from the tax collector, so I'm not sure if it's a vacant lot. I can confirm.
We can look that. Okay. Thank you. Can you get back to Richard on that?
Yes.
Actually, this is Keenan. I happen to know just from some past experience of that property. That's 495 Springfield, the El Sheik LLC property.
Thank you, Keenan.
Thank you very much. Can you also cover his question about Washington Street?
Yeah. So this is in connection with the proposed Elite Berkeley Florist property or redevelopment plan, which will be up for public hearing, I believe, in a couple of weeks. So Washington Street through that particular block is a paper street today, right? So it's an unimproved existing paper street. As part of that redevelopment plan, only a portion of that would be improved in order to provide access to the proposed project. So to answer your question, it would not be carried all the way through to Passaic Avenue in that area. Instead, it would remain as green and open space.
Thanks, Keenan. Liza, anybody else? You're on.
No. Nope. Doesn't look like it. I don't see any hands up either.
Okay, seeing nobody else, I move to close the hearing on agenda items and the public hearing.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Brahimai? Mrs. Brahimai?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Venderos?
Yes.
Mr. Yellen?
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution number 1, approving bill list dated July 8th, 2020 in the amount of $1,324,430.97.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Brahimai?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Yellen?
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution 2, authorizing an agreement with Boxcar to provide drive-in movie screening in the Connell Corporate Park.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brahimai?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Yellen.
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution 3, authorizing the application for a LEAP implementation grant in the amount of $243,000 to offset the costs incurred in entering into and implementing the shared service agreement for emergency dispatch services.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to thank Liza for all the work she did on this. You know, we've looked for a couple of ways to try to go after these shared service grants. And she was, you know, this is a good application. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope we win.
Thanks for your efforts on that, Jean. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brahimai,
Yes.
Mr. Kudo,
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Yellen.
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution 4, authorizing the amendment of certain terms of employment agreement with the Chief of Police, Johnny D. Pasquale.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brahimai,
Yes.
Mr. Kudo,
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Yellen.
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution 5, authorizing the execution of a park construction and maintenance agreement for the property known as Block 614, Lot 3, Mundelli Park.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Brahimai,
Yes.
Mrs. Brahimai, I'm sorry. Mr. Kudo,
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Yellen.
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution 6, authorizing the acquisition of video teleconferencing equipment and services and installation of all communication wiring for the township through the State of New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brahimai,
Yes.
Mr. Kudo,
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Yellen.
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution 7, encouraging any gasoline or diesel-powered motor vehicle to turn off their engines as soon as practical if they plan to remain at that location for more than 3 minutes.
This is a continuation of the existing ordinance, correct?
That was a resolution and it's a renewal of that resolution. That resolution was voted on in 2017 and approved. It was adopted in 2017, but it has to be re-adopted again.
Just I think we needed to second that first.
Yeah, we didn't get it. We didn't hear a
I'm
second.
sorry. Thank you very much, Steve. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I second it.
Is that the only discussion?
No, I actually was going to propose, you know, I know we're doing this so that we can get our Sustainable New Jersey application in, which is, I think you said due July 30th. We do have another meeting. We have a council meeting on July 21st. So I would recommend that we table this resolution so that you can meet with the residents, hear their concerns, and put it back on the meeting on July 21st in time for the grant and the filing of the Environmental Commission.
I agree.
I'll second that.
So Craig, how do you want to do that?
Is that a motion, Councilwoman?
Yeah, I'll motion to table it until the next meeting.
Second.
Right. So just to be clear though, are we sure
there's a
that
motion
will not?
There needs to, okay, so we're on, did we get a second? That's why I was wondering.
Yeah,
Who was
second.
that?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that Manny seconded, so then I spoke up. I just want to be clear, Alvaro, with the Environmental Commission, they will definitely be able to still submit the application on time, even if we wait until approval of this on the 21st?
Yes, I believe that's the case.
Okay, then in that case, I see no harm in having that additional time to discuss it.
Okay, roll call.
Roll call. Mrs. Brahimai,
Yes.
Mr. Kudo,
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Yellen.
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution 8, authorizing the award of a replacement of an emergency generator fuel tank in the amount not to exceed $27,500 to TR Wagner Inc., 1900 New Brunswick Avenue, Passaic, New Jersey, 08854.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brahimai,
Yes.
Mr. Kudo,
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Yellen.
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution 9, authorizing the purchase of furniture and accessories for the library space and common areas within the new municipal complex through the approved vendor, Nickerson Corporation, 11 Moffett Boulevard, Bayshore, New York, 11706, and an amount not to exceed $386,470.06.
Second? Do I have a
Second.
second?
Second.
Yes,
Any discussion?
quick question for our attorney before we vote on this. Because I have a parent who is a part-time employee at the library, would it not be prudent for me to abstain on this particular resolution since it is in direct reference to the library?
Well, I mean, this is implementing the terms of an agreement with the library, and councilman, it would be, it's in your discretion.
Thank you. In that case, I'll abstain out of a matter of prudence.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Brahimai?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Okay, I move resolution 10, authorizing an advisory board known as the Mayor's Youth Council.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just propose making one change that I think we could just do on the fly. Under membership, where it says it consists of the mayor, the township council president, I would recommend that we change that to a member of the township council. Just given that I know there's, a lot of people that might be interested in this committee, and maybe we want to have some discussion about it.
I would support it. Can we make that change, Craig?
Yes.
So how do we do that? Just vote with that amendment or that modification?
Yeah, when we vote, if it's going to be moved as amended, then the amendment would be to remove the word president from paragraph 2.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, and replace it with
Member of the council.
Council member.
Yep. Okay, so I'll move it as amended.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Brahimai?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Yellen?
Yes.
Okay, before I move consent agenda, can we modify 11B to put in the 495 Springfield Avenue after lot 15?
Second. Well, I was seconding that we amended.
Yes.
Was that not?
Okay.
In the reso?
Yep.
I'll double check with the tax collector since this is what she gave me, just to be sure, and I will make the change.
Okay, all right, so then I will move consent agenda A through I, including B as modified.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Brahimai?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Yellen?
Yes.
Okay.
You have an ordinance?
Yes, we need Anna to read it.
Ordinance of the Township of Berkeley Heights, County of Union, State of New Jersey, approving an application for a long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with Berkeley Crossings 2 Urban Renewal LLC.
Okay, I move that the ordinance is read by the clerk be offered on first reading, that July 21st, 2020 be set as the day for public hearing, and the clerk be directed to advertise same in the Courier News.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Brahimai?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Yellen?
Yes.
Gene, you have the language for the
Just
executive?
looking to see if I have that somewhere. 'Cause I
You
don't
may have it if you don't. Hang on a second.
Let's see, do I have it? I don't have it. Do you have it? Can you read it?
I think I do. Give me just a second.
Last page.
It's what?
The last page on the packet.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, then I do have it. Hold on, wait.
That's
Oh,
right.
all right, Alvaro, I got it. Never mind.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you, Gene.
All right. Whereas the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-1, expressly provide that a public body may move into executive session and exclude the public from that portion of a meeting in which the public body discusses any of the 9 areas set forth in NJSA 10:4-12B. And whereas the Township Council of the Township of Berkeley Heights has determined it necessary to move into exec session to discuss the following subjects, all of which are included in the aforesaid exceptions. 1, attorney-client privilege municipal complex. 2, attorney-client privilege Connell rezoning. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Berkeley Heights that it does hereby move into executive session pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B to discuss the aforesaid matters. It is further resolved that the aforesaid discussion shall be made public either at a public meeting following said executive session or at such time as any litigated or personal matters are concluded or upon conclusion of any negotiations or related discussions or as otherwise specified. It is further resolved this resolution shall take effect pursuant to law 8th of July 2020.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Brahimai,
Yes.
Mr. Kudo,
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Yellen.
Yes. Okay, we'll move into executive session via Zoom and return only to adjourn the meeting. And
Gene,
Leslie,
great job. Thank you.
Good job.
Buddy,
Yeah.
do we have the exec session?
Exec session. We're using the
Let's
same
send
windows
it.
before.
yeah,
Okay.
let's send it and let me know.
Did she?
An email? I'll check. Thank you.
I need to check. Okay.
So we'll come back here. I'll reopen this when we get back.
Okay. Thank you.